Jackson, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, The Neo, Temptations, Al. There are many more artists, but these artists around the 1970s, that kind of era, the Y2K, I think they ran music for a while, especially for black culture. You want to know what they all had in common? They were all signed to small black record labels, and that's what this whole entire video is about.
What the fuck wrong with you?
Old Town, Def Jam, Soul Train, which then became Solar. Coming up as a black artist, I feel like in those times would have definitely been harder, especially coming off of the prejudice and racism that was definitely happening during that time in America. Me myself, I don't know if you can tell by my accent, but I'm a British citizen. I'm born and bred British, you know what I'm saying? 18 plus the verified Spotify. I've been listening to some of the songs, just a little bit here and there. They were very experimental in their sounds, especially Stevie Wonder, who was definitely at the top at one point in time. Even Paul Simmons said in his Grammy speech, which I thought was hilarious when I found out about it.
I'm very happy to win this, and I want to thank Phil Ramone, who was co-produced this with me, Phoebe Snow, who sang along with me on the album, Art Garfunkel, who sang with me on My Little Town. Most of all, I like to thank Stevie Wonder, who didn't make an album this year. So
it's like everything nowadays is just wrapped into, this road is way too noisy, man. It's like everything nowadays is all just wrapped into one big circle of just easily consumable stuff, right? I just feel like everything right now is just pushed, or most things right now are just pushed as easily consumable, you know what I'm saying? And TikTok sounds and TikTok dances. I feel like we missed a point in time, or we're missing certain points in time, due to these big artists that are taking the main stage, the Drakes, the Drakes, like that's that. The way that music and how it's been praised has definitely changed throughout the times. You can literally tell by the Grammys. Like from 1970 to 2000, there were 16 nominations, or more than 16, but there were 16 people that won a Grammy award. From 2000 to 2025, it was 6 people. Because obviously back then, Stevie Wonder pumping out albums. But yeah, it's like nowadays the Grammys is just, just watered down a bit. I feel like, at least with my experience with music and how it is, I'm not hearing no experimental sound, I'm not hearing no Motown sound nowadays. I'm just hearing, just generic stuff. Whenever you're coming across, Spotify or TikTok or Instagram or whatever, you really have to delve deep. It's like I need to go to Apple Music to get my recommendations. Now tell me what. Post-production, Ryan coming here to give you all more context. The reason why I feel like black people were getting a lot more of their shine back then has got nothing to do with why they're getting such little light now. I actually feel like back then it could have potentially been worse, because of the fact that even though there were a lot more artists getting a lot more recognition back then, the Fifth Dimension, Roberta Flack, Michael Jackson, I feel like they just started to use the same people, recycling the same people to try and just say, oh, we're diverse, or oh, we're just like this, just like that. The Grammys has said that they are trying to up their diversity and their women in the field, because there's not a lot of black women representation at all within the 2 main nominations for Song of the Year and Album of the Year, especially after the controversy, the whole entire NASR or NASA leak of how the voting actually goes on. The fact that it's come to this and Beyonce has only won Song of the Year once is wild to me. Oh, and Album of the Year too. Yeah, crazy work. I definitely do feel like nothing has changed since Kendrick has dropped Not Like Us. I don't feel like anything is going to change next year or this year or the year after. I just feel like he's just going to become one of those staples that the white people can look at and just slap him a Grammy, just give him a Grammy. I don't feel like anything has really changed necessarily.
They're the same picture.
Kendrick Lamar is definitely trying to change the industry. He's trying to make a change in the culture within America. The only reason he won Song of the Year, as well as Beyonce also winning Album of the Year that same year, was because of how sensational that song was, not just to black people, but to the whole entire world. Are we forgetting To Pimp a Butterfly? Are we forgetting Kendrick's Ultimate Surprise? Every other year they switched it. They went from the album needs to be highly acclaimed. To Pimp a Butterfly was highly acclaimed. Maybe it wasn't the best selling, so someone else won that. Fair enough. But then Damn came around. Not only was it highly acclaimed, but it was also best selling, I believe. And it didn't win for whatever reason. So I feel like there definitely is bias when it comes to giving black people awards. And I don't feel like that's going to change for quite a while. I feel like a lot more now compared to before. The underground music has definitely become a lot more of a talking topic, even in mainstream media. But those underground artists, to reach that mainstream stardom, they have to change how they're acting, the things that they're saying to try and get to that stardom that they were aspiring to be when being that underground artist. And I feel like a good example of that is Summers.
So delving into the small black record labels, that I talked about at the start of the video. If you don't know, the Motown sound is a mix between gospel, R&B, and pop. I feel like these groups, they definitely made a name for themselves. Like, they definitely showed people what black people can do in music and how it can inspire so many other people. You can still hear people trying to emulate that Motown sound in today's age, you know what I mean? Like, I think they tried to create something at that time, create something new and innovative, and that they did, and whilst that did come to their detriment at the point in time, it was amazing. By detriment, I mean like other people copying, taking the sounds, as I've been saying, people trying to emulate it, things like that. I feel like the death of those black record labels such as Motown is definitely due to how music and how we're listening to it has changed throughout the years, right?
Hey broski, I just released a new song. I'd love to get your opinion on it. Oh, for sure, man. Hey, you've been my brother from day one. Of course, man, I got you. What's it on Spotify? Let me check. Oh, no. You can't listen to it on Napster. I got it, physical copy, $229. $229.
A lot of things have changed entering the 2000s, Sony Music Group, Universal Music Group, Warner Music Group, they've all got their piece in the pie now, those are the big three. They've got every name, it all dumbs down to them, apart from the independent artists, right? But before we got into that time, that current period of time that we're in right now, it was more like the Radioheads, the people that loved the old music, the people that were blocking the new age, that could have definitely brought some new, different changes to what we currently have right now. For example, J. Cole was, I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but he was one of those people that tried to get in the radio or tried to get a record label, something like that, and he just got denied. I know he was waiting outside somewhere on his bike, waiting for some guy, to respond to him. Streaming, whilst it did definitely bring a lot of new faces and new contrasts, the SoundCloud rap era, the Juice WRLD, the XXXTentacions, it didn't just do good. It definitely did bad. Due to the cost of running a record label and the complications it comes down to, Motown just got destroyed due to that fact. Michael Jackson, one of the people that was signed to Motown, as he left the label, the group had to change their name from the Jackson 5 to the Jacksons because they didn't own the name. They didn't own the name. That's just one example of many of just the complications that comes along with like record labels and stuff like that. So as the prices increased, music is only just going to be getting more and more advanced in the future, I believe.
Unless some AI do some stupid stuff.
And as more people try and come out to express, it's going to be harder to find those artists. It's going to be harder to try and find people that are trying to make the curve, trying to make the change in the music industry. And I feel like there needs to definitely be a change in that. Independent artists still do exist here and there, they do share like 31% of the pie. Do I believe they get the same funding? No sirski. There are artists like Smino and Daniel Caesar. I feel like those two are good examples. Smino and Daniel Caesar, I do believe, are good examples of this. I don't feel like they're poor, definitely not, but I don't feel like they're, they're not pulling Drake money. You get what I'm trying to say? They're not pulling Drake money. And I don't know, Daniel Caesar comparison, I don't think Daniel Caesar is pulling Frank Ocean numbers, even though, Frank Ocean's got some beef with his label. Like, hey, that Apple deal though, yeah, that Apple deal, yeah, I respect that. Kendrick Lamar, SZA, J. Cole, Jid, they all are in their own respective small little record labels there, or they might own their own. But those are just the big names. me myself, I don't even really know the smaller ones, and hopefully they do end up coming to fruition. But I feel like it is definitely, in today's age and how music is, you know, how easy it is to just search up the big names, it's definitely harder, you know, to push the ideas that you might want, or the sounds that you might want to create. DDE, PG Line, Dreamville, there are examples, they are out there. Finding artists is gonna be hard. That's why today's video is sponsored by you. Would you like to make your own diverse group of artists? Would you like to change the world? Would you like to go to the moon? Would you like 10 million in the bank, look at it and smile? Now, I know it's not about the money. It's about change. And you, my friend, can bring change. If you're interested in music like I am, I've got a target for you. I've got a goal for you. This is something that I'm going to be doing myself. So you have to be a university student for it. Or you don't really have to be. You can just try anything. You know, just have your own interpretation of what I'm about to tell you, my own little story. So if you don't know, I like to make music. I like to make music a lot. I like to speak my own mind and, you know, just say things I really want to say. I feel like, in that sense, I'm a creative person, right? And I've realized that I feel like I've hit a plateau. I've hit a plateau in my own sound creation due to my inexperience in other fields, whether that's sound engineering, whether that's going out to venues, whether that's connecting with new artists and, you know, making my own, you know, new different sounds through like bouncing off people's ideas. That's why I'm trying to make a music society, or I'm going to make a music society. I'm currently making a music society in my university. I'm going to be trying to find people that are around the same kind of like field that I am in. I'm going to try and find like-minded people that, you know, share the same interests in me, whether that's music or production or management or, you know, funding or, you know, things of these sorts, right? And I'm going to try and make my way into venues. I'm going to try and make my way into studios. I've only ever been in a studio like maybe 5 times in my life, but a professional studio, never. I would really love to do that for myself and for the people around me. I feel like it would definitely be a cool idea to bounce ideas off of each other and have the university's backing on my name, so maybe I could get, you know, cheaper little bonuses, you know what I mean, on the side, like, oh, you can get an extra hour in the studio, oh, you can have it with this venue, hey, don't worry. Yeah, that's for me. As for you, it might be, I don't know, like just meeting up with some people, making some new friends that might be interested in music. You'd have to find a space to make it. But for me, I'm making that space. And if you want to make your own space, you know, think about it. Think about it. That's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. You know, this is the first time I've ever held cash. Like, I don't ever hold cash. I've got £6 in cash. Like, hey, if anyone's trying to get it, hey, get at me. You can get it. Did you know this microphone could echo too? I use this for music, by the way. I got it for £30 on Amazon. Like, this is an unserious microphone. Shout out to Money Talks with LA Reid for inspiring me to make this video. Best take as well. Oh my days. I'm getting good at piano, man.